Thank you. Thank you. Welcome, everyone, to the November CLS Zoom meeting. We've got our speaker here, Jafrik, from Haiti. But before we do, we'll just do a little bit of catching up and so on. Unfortunately, my computer, which I was using, I'd intended to do a little slideshow of showing some of the things that we've been up to in recent months in terms of the amount of protests that have been happening around the UK and in some cases around the world. My computer is being updated for the Zoom, and it seems like there was nothing I could do to just cancel the update and proceed with the old one that was being blocked. So I've had to let it run. So I don't know how long that will be, but I hope to come back to the slides so that maybe I can show them and we can have a little conversation around it. But I wanted to start really with the event that is most, I think, at the forefront of our minds, and is what's happening in Palestine, Gaza Strip at the moment. I think it's important we say something about that, and to also give some people an opportunity to maybe respond to anything that I might reference or say at this point. But before I start, I think it's important that we always bear in mind about anti-Semitism and that we're opposed to that. And in doing that, it doesn't exclude us from criticizing the Zionist state that is being repressing the Palestinian people for such a long time, and especially in the way in which the UN seems to be almost a toothless bulldog in dealing and handling this situation, which is very distressing to see the amount of lives being lost and damaged on both sides. We need to criticize, the Hamas attack also on the civilians, children, women who have been killed in Israel. But it does not excuse them to destroy their lives by almost taking a collective punishment of the people of Gaza. At this moment, in today's paper, we see some 4,000 children have been killed and this is in 4 weeks of attacks on Gaza. And they seem determined to continue the slaughter despite the timid noises coming from the Americans and from the British government especially about some kind of a humanitarian ceasefire or cessation just to allow them to receive food and water as the bombs drop. We call for ceasefire completely, total, to stop this slaughter. It's not surprising that the UN seems powerless. From the time of the Iraq invasion, some of us would remember despite UN resolutions, the Americans just did as they pleased and then continue to undermine the United Nations by withdrawing funding and other measures that they took. That the UN is in the state that it is in is the responsibility of the American and many Western governments that have failed the Palestinian people, despite the many years of a two-state solution that was being proposed, despite all the resolutions they've passed about that Palestine must be free, they continue to be attacked, and seemingly with impunity. And not only with impunity, with support from Britain, which continues to arm, the United States, which continues to arm Israel, sending mixed messages about them They're arming at the same time they're calling for safe corridors and humanitarian aid. It's just hypocritical and really embarrassing to see the way in which these powers are supporting the Israelis in their horrific, murderous onslaught by the Palestinian people. Innocent women and children are being killed in collective punishment, which must be some kind of a war crime. I won't go into the legal side because that is, I'm not trained legally, but we've got other people who might want to comment about what's happening there. But we call for a ceasefire, and we've been out protesting. Some of the slides I was going to show was thanks to Steve, who's been out on some demonstrations. I've just been caught up, not really being able to go and express my solidarity in the way I would like to. But we've always stood up for Palestine, and we've got years of protest photos where we've been active on those demonstrations and taking action supporting Palestine. Yeah, for me, it's just so distressing, and I'm sure other people might maybe want to comment on anything that's been said there, especially from the legal aspect and from humanitarian, response that this, it just says how war is such a waste of lives and resources. We see Biden calling for over 100 billion to support for him to continue supporting Israel and supporting Ukraine in war, whilst their own people, millions are homeless, students having to struggle with paying for education, and never mind the population and health issues. What a total waste of money and hypocrisy coming from leaders who proclaim to be Christians or religious people, one way or the other. We heard Netanyahu quoting from the Bible, a time for war and a time for peace. It's a time for war now, he declares. Biden, who is reputedly goes to church every Sunday, feels that it's okay for Israel to attack the Palestinians in the fashion that they're doing. From our own leaders in the UK, agreeing that self-defense includes starving people, preventing humanitarian aid from going into the country. Yeah, really disgusting. I will stop there, and if there's any comments or people might want to say something there. Thank you.
Luke, I see that Joseph Antoine has got his hand up, and Paul Ward might wish to say something about his petition that he's put in the chat.
Thanks, Rusty. Okay, Joseph, give me Latin, Joseph. See where you're speaking from. I can't see Joseph.
Oh, you can't. You can't.
Okay.
My video is not always clear. That's why I try to avoid,
Okay.
Deflecting people. Anyway, I think we need to see some parallel with the situation with Palestine and the Grenada invasion. In fact, today I will be part of a conversation on the global, Solidarity International, Sunday Solidarity International, talking about Grenada 40 years after invasion. What I see here is that, as you say, hypocrisy, but then again, we have to understand that these folks who have been shaping the world and shaping us into cowardice as a world. For instance, when you have Haiti, for instance, the US is trying to convince us that we should support the Kenyan in being part of the Grenada invasion, abstaining at the vote 2 Fridays ago in the UN. Similar as Grenada did in 1985, I think it was December 10th, when they voted in support of the apartheid regime by abstaining. And shameless Jamaica abstaining themselves. So I would like to see the connection between how we are playing out the game of the imperialists in all of that. So it's very interesting that some and to me we don't really have leaders. We have administrators. We have people who follow the instruction of the greater power. I'll stop here because
Okay.
I don't want to.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for your comment, Joseph. Thank you very much. We've got Paul Ward up next.
Yeah.
Paul?
Can you hear me? Hi. Good.
Yes, you can.
Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, wherever you are. If you look in the chat, I've just posted a link to a petition we have here in Jamaica. You may be aware that we've been very ashamed that our Prime Minister and the Foreign Secretary Minister did not vote in the humanitarian vote in the UN last week. And we've been so distressed about that there was a good demonstration yesterday, but I did the a petition a couple of days before, and it calls on Andrew Holness, the Prime Minister, to apologise for the missing vote, that they made some pathetic excuse why they didn't vote. Also calls upon the Prime Minister to publicly support the statement by the UN General Secretary, talking about that what happened on October the 7th did not happen in a vacuum. The third one, it demands that Jamaica breaks diplomatic and other ties with Israel. And finally, to make a public statement as a friend, apparently a friend of America that we are in Jamaica, to advise him as a friend to stop funding Israel. So the link is there. So if you fancy signing the petition, it would be helpful. Let me just see if I can put up 2 pictures of our demonstration yesterday. I can do a share screen. I wonder if I can. It was only about 200 people, but for Jamaica, that's actually quite good, to be honest with you.
Whoa.
And the last time I saw something like that was in 2003 over the Iraqi war. So it was down near the waterfront in Kingston, for those of you who know Jamaica. Quite a good turnout and some good speeches.
Yeah.
So there we go. And thank you. So please have a look at the petition, see what you make of it. Okay.
Thank you for that, Paul. We have seen a position, of course, and I think we will be circulating it to our membership. It should get the widest coverage possible. Okay, I think we'll stop there on Palestine. There's no hands up, and I don't see any more comments coming forward. So we will go to our main issue today, which is Haiti. I should say, and I hope people would have got the message before, that unfortunately Selma James, who was going to present on the Black Jacobins, was not able to. We know that her organization and them, they're caught up a lot with what's happening in Palestine, and there's protests happening several a day in several places. There was a couple yesterday. Paul, I've got you on the screen. I'm not sure why. I've got you on the main screen, so I don't know why you're there. Steve, are you there?
Don't worry, we can hear you. We can't see you for the minute, but we can hear you, and you can introduce the speaker,
Okay.
and then hopefully we will see the speaker once that happens.
Okay, let's try and get us sorted before we bring on Jafri, who has been a long time, a Haitian who's been campaigning for many years, of course, because he's connected to. And unfortunately, I don't have my computer in front of me, which is a real disadvantage at the moment, but we'll proceed. Jafri, we met on other occasions, and I'm always impressed with what you have to say about Haiti. The last time I heard you speak, you were very clear in your analysis on the situation on the ground. We've been protesting here in London, and we did try to coordinate some action together. Selma, who should have been speaking as well, would have been, I would have been showing some of those pictures of that demonstration. The one that we held in front of the embassy, the Kenyan embassy, was a well-attended picket, and people voiced their opinions about what Kenya was getting themselves involved with, being used by the imperialists to front a force coming into Haiti, which we've opposed. And I think the Caribbean countries, some of them had opposed that, but it seemed that there's some vacillating happening. But I'll leave you, Jafrik, to bring us up to date with what the situation is and how you see it. So please take the floor and we listen to you. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Brother Luke, and thank you for this kind invitation of the Caribbean Labor Solidarity Organization in the UK. It really warms the heart for a native of Haiti to know that brothers and sisters all the way in the UK stand in solidarity with the people of Haiti. This is particularly important when the feeling that many Haitians have is one of being isolated, being unheard, being misunderstood by everyone in the world. And nowhere do we feel that more than in the Caribbean, where in fact Haiti and Jamaica are neighbors, yet young children are growing up in Haiti never hearing about Brother Manley, never knowing the depth of the activism of Bob Marley, just like on the other side in Jamaica, so few understand that we are not just neighbors, we are family. Doing my genealogy, just recently, I discovered so many of my cousins who actually escaped slavery and ended up growing families in Jamaica, and vice versa. It happens throughout the Caribbean. Yet, in 2023, what is being used by the imperialists who brought all of us from Africa to the Caribbean is the fear of each other. The Jamaican Prime Minister might not admit it. The Bahamian Prime Minister might not admit it in public, but the reason why they accept to participate in this nth betrayal of Haiti, and of course of our common ancestors, is the fear that brothers and sisters who are running from the mayhem that has been created by imperialism on the island of Haiti is going to cause refugees to invade Jamaica, Bahamas, etc. As if these brothers and sisters do not have intellectuals on their land to teach them that when we were all running for our lives in the United States, in Canada, all over the Americas, Haiti was the only oasis of freedom available to us. And indeed, many of us found refuge in Haiti. And so when people like Luke Daniels, like Selma James, who's been a long time sister standing up with the people of Haiti, do these types of meetings, we are happy to see that they bring with them others who come from many different lands and who do stand in solidarity and say no to tyranny that is ongoing on our land. Just yesterday, we were in Montreal with 30,000 people in the streets, just like happened all around the world, people standing against the genocide that the same imperialism is causing in Palestine. It was important for us to make the point that from Port-au-Prince to Palestine, occupation is a crime. And it so happens that two of the heroes of Haitian history, of recent Haitian history, have their roots directly in Palestine. The brothers George and Antoine Ismaili, who were savagely, cowardly murdered by the CIA in Haiti in 1992 and 1993, have monuments in Port-au-Prince because Antoine Ismaili is one of the few Haitians within the group of non-Africans who basically run the business, the economy of Haiti since the mid-1800s. They were brought in by the United States to serve as a buffer class to basically run Haiti as a neo-colony for US multinational corporations, and in the process enrich themselves and running the place as a neo-colony. The Ismaili brothers were multimillionaires. However, although they lived up the hill with most light-skinned Haitians from the Middle East, that group that was brought in by the US occupation, the Ismaili brothers always distinguished themselves by the fact that they sided with the people. They actively participated in the popular revolution that was taking place in the country. Antoine Ismaili was one of the funders of Aristide's campaign in 1991. And he was the first person, in fact, the only person, to stand up after the election of Aristide in 1990, that was December 16th, 1990, when Jimmy Carter, former US president, went to Haiti after the votes were casted, before they started counting the votes. Jimmy Carter went to Jean-Bertrand Aristide, the front runner in the election, the obvious front runner, because the people of Haiti, after voting, stayed in the streets because they knew the United States was going to try to steal the election from them. And then Jimmy Carter went to Jean-Bertrand Aristide and asked him to go to the microphone and concede victory to his opponent, who was the American favorite. And the world would never have known this happened if it wasn't for Antoine Ismaili, who actually contacted the media in the United States and denounced Jimmy Carter. Now, this is an important story that I always tell because Jimmy Carter is not known to be a racist. Jimmy Carter is not associated with imperialism. This is supposed to be the good American. Okay? And this is something that is very important for people to learn from the struggle of Haiti. There is no good imperialist. It doesn't matter whether it is a Democrat or a Republican in the White House, whether it is a liberal or a conservative in Ottawa or in France. The positioning of the white supremacist cousins towards the people of Haiti is constant. And it is to protect the interests of a small minority on the island to the detriment of the vast majority of Black Haitians. And so when Antoine Ismaili took this brave stance, he committed class and race suicide, which is what Haiti has been calling the world to do since the revolution, because that's what it means to give up on racial slavery. When Miranda went to Dessalines seeking help in 1806, that's what Dessalines offered him as an approach. Everywhere, we will help you liberate Latin America, Colombia, Venezuela, Bolivia, all of these places were liberated because the Africans of Haiti helped Miranda and then Bolivar. But the only demand that the Haitians made was that wherever you liberate from the Europeans, you have to abolish racial slavery. And neither Miranda nor Bolivar kept their word. Yes, Bolivar liberated his own personal slaves, but he did not abolish slavery because the economy was too important for them to give up racial slavery, to give up the racial hierarchy that they have established on the planet since the late 1400s. And so when Antoine Ismeri was continuing his activism after the first coup against Aristide in 1991, the United States had already targeted him for murder. And on a few months before his own killing, they murdered his brother Georges Ismeri. And on 11th of September 1993, while sitting in a church commemorating another massacre that happened in the church of then priest Jean-Bertrand Aristide, which happened on the 11th of September 1988, the soldiers entered the church while there were OAS, Organization of American States officials in the church. They picked up Antoine Ismeri and murdered him and left his body inside of the in front of the Sacré-Cœur Church in Port-au-Prince. This is to tell you that there is no limit to the barbarism of white supremacist imperialism. And so what is happening in Gaza today should not surprise anyone on the planet. This atrocity has been going on for hundreds of years, and the resistance that we are putting up against it has not yet been to the level that it needs to be. And to illustrate, now they have the audacity to recruit Black soldiers to put in the front line to invade Haiti in order to secure the apartheid, the socioeconomic apartheid that they've established in Haiti, that the Ismeri brothers, although they had every opportunity to benefit from it, rejected. Whenever I would go to Antoine Ismeri's store in Port-au-Prince, I would find him speaking in Haitian Creole. This is an unmistakable marker because light-skinned people in Haiti do not speak Creole in public. Creole is the language that ties all Haitians together. It's the only language that we all understand. But in order to seclude themselves, just like the Boers of South Africa, they do not speak Haitian Creole in public. They understand it perfectly because they do business with the population. But the approach that that class, which visibly the Ismeris belong to, is to use Haiti to make money, but never to mingle and mix with the population. And that's why they were targeted, because they betrayed their race and class privileges. When they are bringing Samuel Ruto, the fake president of Kenya, to bring his soldiers and police officers to Haiti, they say it's to fight gangs. When you read the details, you would understand that this is exactly the opposite that they're trying to do. In fact, the so-called gangs are paramilitaries that are armed, that were created by the United States. 100% of their weapons come from Florida. Okay, some of them transit through Canada, some of them come from Israel, but it's again through the connection they have with the criminals that are running the business. And they do not want to stop the gangs. What they want to do is to subdue the population so that whenever the United States is ready to organize a fake election, like they did in Kenya, to put Samuel Ruto in power, that the population will not be able to defeat the same thing that they were trying to do in 1991 when Aristide was elected. Okay, so now they put the gangs in the streets in order to force the people to stay in their houses, prisoners in their own country. And Haiti now has internal displaced people, which we never had before. Okay, and all of that is something that is created by the United States. So when they are pretending now that they're sanctioning some of the folks who are involved in gun running in Haiti, this is a fake gesture to remove the blame and the projector from them, and to say it's like Frankenstein telling the world that some of its monsters are ugly. We're not interested in Frankenstein's analysis of its own monsters. We want to get rid of monsters and Frankenstein. And, you know, that figure of speech I'm using here is about the United States, Canada, and their white supremacist cousins. I will end with sharing an article that provides, in my view, the key information that people need to have with regards to what's happening in Haiti. I don't know who is the richest person in the UK. I know that in Canada, the richest person is someone whose worth is established at around $54 billion. In the case of Haiti, there is one person who is considered a billionaire, and it so happens that this person is considered to be the richest in the Caribbean. Okay, it's telling that the richest person in the Caribbean would live in the country reputed to be the poorest in the Caribbean. This would tell you in what kind of business this person makes its money. Well, Gilbert Bidjo doesn't even live in Haiti. He lives in Florida. But what's more interesting about this individual is that he is on the list of people that Canada pretends to be sanctioning because they have evidence that he is involved in financing the criminal kidnapping gangs. Now imagine that the richest person in the UK would be in such a position where they would have evidence that this person is financing gangs of kidnappers that have been kidnapping, murdering people for tens of years. Would the UK be satisfied? Would you, citizens of the UK, be satisfied to just put the name of this individual on a list? Worse, imagine that this person who would have been the richest in the UK would be one of the Windrush immigrants, right? Who just, you know, by fate becomes the richest person in the UK and is running kidnapping gangs in London. Would you just put their name on a list? No, you would arrest them. You would put them in jail. So the question is, why isn't Gilbert Bidjo in jail? Why isn't Michel Martelly in jail when the UN has just published a draft report, and they say they're going to publish the rest of the report in November? And in the report, all they're saying is what Haitians have been saying for years. These individuals are kidnappers, they are killers, they are murderers, they thieves, they stole the money of Petrocaribe, etc. And now the UN is pretending that they've just done the research and they've just discovered that. No, Haitians have been saying that. And it's the United States and the UN that has been stopping Haitians from bringing these individuals to justice by destroying the Haitian state. And so I will simply show you now this website, Jafrikayiti.com, which is my personal website, where you will see this article, "No Need to Invade Haiti, Arrest Bidjo and Martelly in Florida." They are in Florida, so you don't need to go into Haiti. You don't need to mobilize CARICOM, the Caribbean brothers and sisters, to go and commit fratricide in Haiti. If you arrest these two main criminals who are importing illegal weapons into Haiti, this guy, Gilbert Bidjo, for 25 years was the consulate of Israel in Haiti. And as such, he had diplomatic immunity. He has his own private port in coordination with Michel Martelly, the former fake president that Hillary Clinton rigged the elections in 2010 to impose as president of Haiti. And of course, with diplomatic immunity, He gets these weapons to come to his private port, and then those weapons end up in the hands of the street gangs, whom that you've seen are walking the streets without even proper clothing, yet they're each carrying weapons that are worth $7,000, $10,000 when they've never left Haiti. They do not have contacts. You can see in that article a slide which was presented at the beginning of the year, where the so-called Prime Minister of Haiti, Ariel Henry, features as a supporter, a financer of one of the major gangs in Haiti called Katsama Ozo. Now, this is a conference organized by Université Quisqueya, one of the main private universities in Haiti. And Ariel Henry was at that conference. He opened that conference. And when Robert Muga, the researcher, presented that slide, he was there. He never said a word to contradict the person. And at that same conference, you had participants such as Michael Jean, the former Governor General of Canada, the rector of the University of Ottawa. Everybody was sitting there as if it's normal that the man who's supposedly the Prime Minister of Haiti, who was never named by Haitians, but selected by the white supremacist forces in Washington, finances gangs, kidnapping gangs, okay? And this is still the reality. And so this is to tell you that what we are facing here is a major, major catastrophic situation where in order to achieve the results that we're looking for, we're going to have to go into uncomfortable spaces in order to tell our brothers and sisters in CARICOM that entering Haiti as that so-called Kenyan-led force, when we all know it's Canada and the United States that's financing the whole thing. The meeting that that was held in Jamaica the other day, all of it was financed by the government of Canada. So what's being done here is blackface imperialism. And so Brother Luke mentioned the fact that we met in Caracas at that conference on reparations, and Brother Ralph Gonsalves, the Honorable Prime Minister of St. Vincent and Grenadine, was there. And I remember my conversation with him at that conference about the fact that we cannot rely on the United Nations for justice, especially in favor of African people. The United Nations has never served us. It was United Nations that kidnapped Prime Minister Patrice Lumumba and handed him over so that the Belgians could dissolve his bone in acid. Okay? And Canada helped in the capture of Patrice Lumumba. And so the infrastructure of the international community right now cannot serve justice. They have proven it, and they're proving it right now in Palestine. Therefore, there's only one thing left: the people. People-to-people solidarity is what we need and is what is going to save our planet, not just Haiti, from the claws of very little, very tiny men and women who hold way too much power at their possession at this moment. Thank you.
Thank you so much, brother. Question I would most want to ask, and I think it's really important that you pointed out our the way in which we cooperate together, you know, the Caribbean with Haiti, the UK, and I know many other parts of the world surely will be in support of Haiti. We viewed Haiti, I think most people around the world see Haiti as the first Black Republic, the first people who have freed themselves from slavery. And I think, you know, most people notice that they are being punished for daring to do such a thing. We in the Caribbean need to make sure that our people are informed, they get the information, and education is such a key part of the things we do. And especially we feel the fight and the call for reparations for slavery, which was one of the reasons that Haiti was, that Aristide was removed from power, is a relevant one in terms of raising people's awareness about oppression and about white supremacy and about how nations are being used to oppress their peoples in favor of imperialism. So we got to keep raising people's awareness. And thank you so much for throwing light on so much that is going on in Haiti today. But I wondered whether, how do you see the solutions? I mean, it really looks like a dire situation. The people are fighting back, I'm sure, in the best ways they can. Are there green shoots of organizations that you see are able to take power from the imperialists, as it were? How do you see the future of Haiti going?
Yeah, it is a continuing struggle. We have people who are resisting on the ground, but honestly, the forces are not equal at all. Okay, mainly because we, Asians like myself, have not mustered enough courage, enough effort to inform the world of what is happening. To this moment, the imperialists are able to portray what they are doing as the opposite of what they are really doing. You see, in Canada, every week there is a statement issued, and they name, $20 million, $60 million that Canada has sent as aid to Haiti. And most Canadians are not aware that those $30, $60 million are actually money that Canada has spent to send its own soldiers to Haiti, who are training the police, who are training the paramilitaries that are killing the Haitians. That's not aid. But most people buy into the racist framework. And as you see, what's happening on the African continent, countries like Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, are saying, listen, stop aiding us. Okay, keep your aid, because we have the uranium, we have the coltan, we have the gold, and we know that's what you want. But you don't want to pay fair price for it. So you want to pretend that you're helping us. So you see, what they're doing in the Sahel in Africa is that they're the ones arming the so-called Islamist terrorists. And France pretends that, okay, we're going to help you fight the Islamist terrorists. And then the leaders of Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali are observing that these terrorists have weapons all the time, and their weapons are coming from France. So the firemen are not firemen, they're arsonists. And so we need to treat them like that. And we need to stop treating them as if people who have credibility. We need now, when we're dealing with the Prime Minister of the UK, the Prime Minister of Canada, the President of France, who are summoning meetings about leaders of the Caribbean to come and discuss with them, how to help Haiti. We need to muster the courage to tell them, shut up. You've got no credibility to be talking about solidarity, because we have seen real solidarity towards Haiti. Cuba has done it. Okay? When the earthquake happened in 2010, Cuba did not start raising flags and distributing little Cuban flags for Haitians to raise. Okay? Cuban doctors who were already on the ground saving lives continued to do what they were doing all along. It is Cuba that helped President Aristide open that university and that medical school that has been doing wonders in Haiti. So what can be done is being done by some people who are already doing it. So the president that they kidnapped in 2004 and said wasn't good for Haiti found refuge in South Africa because there was a courageous leader in South Africa at the time, Thabo Mbeki, who welcomed President Aristide, and he was welcomed also by the Mandelas. And while in South Africa, President Aristide finished his PhD. He was also teaching, his wife as well, and they prepared their return. And they returned in 2011, despite opposition from Barack Obama, who called President Zuma and told him not to let Aristide back. In opposition from Canada, who also, publish op-eds saying that don't let Aristide back to Haiti, he's going to cause trouble. Well, I'll tell you what kind of trouble he's been causing since his return in 2011. Go to their website and you will see UNIFA, UNIFA, the University of Fondation Dr. Aristide. They went to court in order to regain access to their university because the American invaders had taken over the university, kicked the students out, and turned it into an army barrack. Some of the students managed to go to Cuba to complete their education, and they returned to Haiti, and some of them are now teachers at the university. When President Aristide reopened the university upon his return in 2011, and they did all the work to put the university back in shape and reopened, and they started graduating hundreds of doctors, lawyers, engineers, agronomists, dentists every year since 2018. And you know who is financing that? People like you, okay? People like you and I, people like Danny Glover, people like Congresswoman Maxine Waters, okay? People who understand that every time we plant a seed, they kill it before it grows. And therefore, it is our responsibility to make sure that they stop killing our Thomas Sankaras at 37 years old, our Patrice Lumumbas at 35 years old. For what they did to Jean-Bertrand Aristide, they also did to Hugo Chavez 2 years before they kidnapped Aristide. And what they are planning to do right now, using the Caribbean and African soldiers to invade Haiti so that they can protect the privileges of the 15 white mafia families in Haiti, they will also do against Jamaicans. I hear that some Black Jamaicans cannot go to their own beaches in Jamaica because these beaches have been taken over by white people. Well, this is what they want. They want to do it everywhere in the Caribbean. That is, we would become decoration in the Caribbean. We would become people who serve the white tourist in our own islands. That's not what our ancestors fought for. That's not what Nanny the Maroon fought for. That's not what Walter Rodney fought for. And so what we need to do is to continue that solidarity. The folks who are in Haiti know what to do. They're doing what they're doing. To have students going and completing their education in Haiti during this period where the gangs are ruling, this means that the determination that young Haitians have is something out of this world. So they are resisting. What they need from us is solidarity, so that when BBC, when Radio Canada, when France 24 are spewing out lies, pretending that it is these young people who are destroying their own country, it's black on black crime, and we need to go in there and save the natives from themselves, we need to unpack those lies and let the populations of the UK, the populations of Ottawa know the truth, so that they do not use our tax money to continue imperialism in the Caribbean. Because like I said to Sister Miriam Motley, don't believe that they are fine with Barbados taking its independence, okay? This last week, we saw the so-called King of England. I realize I'm speaking to people in the UK. Honestly, I don't care if some of you are still tied to this weird institution called the King of England. But Charles is a king of thieves, okay? That crown still has the diamonds that were stolen from the children that are in famine in Africa today. This fool went to Nairobi, and Samuel Ruto was parading him around. Not a word of remorse, let alone reparations. Okay? The Mau Mau who survived colonization are still there. Their children are there in famine. And Samuel Ruto, that fool, put a red carpet for Charles, this lazy bastard who never worked a day in his life. You know how insulting that is? The Queen of England died at 96 years old. How many African queens died at 34? Why can't our queens live their whole lives? I'll tell you why. Because they have to work for themselves. And you have a family sitting in London who've never worked a day in their life. And they own lands in Tanzania. How do they own all this land? No.
Okay, brother.
We need to stand against that.
Yes, and it's good that we look at the whole world, and thank you for including our monarchs over here who are not ready to make apologies for slavery. They have sorrows, like all past prime ministers, and future ones, I suspect. Lots of sorrows, but no apologies because of the legal implications. Okay, I see I've got one hand up for a little while now. Joseph, Jamaica, Grenada, has been waiting for a while. So I'll let you in with your question to
Good morning, brother. Please. Good morning, brother from Haiti. I'm always inspired by when I hear my Haitian brothers and sisters. And having gone to Haiti years ago, and I'm also in association with some comrades in Haiti who have not been hearing from lately, I feel more even inspired by what you say. But I want to submit before I ask you. I want to submit that you be careful with Mia Motley. Mia Motley is the female version of Ruto. They say the nice things that need to be said, but they're not consistent. They're not deep. They're not really serious. So we have to be mindful of these kind of people who sees the so-called Pan-African or the progressive impetus, and they betray us in the end. But the thing you said about the beaches is happening in Grenada, it's happening maybe in other islands where we are having gated communities where, and unfortunately, our so-called leaders are at the forefront of making sure those things happening. The same thing with our citizen by investment and all of these things. What I want to ask you is that would you be willing to be in an audience that could appear a wider audience in the Caribbean? Because sometimes we don't have the right contact of people, and we'd be glad if we could organize something so more people, because a lot of people in the Caribbean have messed up ideas. The first thing when you mention Haiti is voodoo, evil. So we need to dispel these misconception and erroneous propaganda. So I will be more than glad to facilitate you in a wider audience in the Caribbean, but please, I would like to get your contact. Thank you very much.
Answer is yes. Any invitation, I always say yes, because that's what we need to do. I spent more than 30 years of my life working in the Canadian government as a senior bureaucrat. The rest of my life is dedicated to my people's liberation and struggle. So I don't have time to hesitate about these invitations, and thank you, brother.
Thank you so much. I don't see another question or hand up. Steve, inform me if there's anything happening that I'm not seeing, but certainly courage is needed in all this, Jafrik, and you've demonstrated very ably, very well, your courage. And, but apart from courage, we do need the information. We do need the awareness of the world that we live in and the situation we face and the disappointments and the letdowns from the leaders that we often encounter. But we have to keep fighting for the masses, not only in the Caribbean, but CLS is committed to doing that work here in the UK because that's where we're mainly based. And of course, we are concerned about what's happening with the entire world. So we keep a broad perspective, and I'm glad you were able to, in your talk, to already do a wide sweep, not only of, what's happening in Haiti and the Caribbean, but you visited Africa and Europe and so on. And this is the kind of general information we really need to be in charge of, and that we're able to disseminate it. And so, yes, but you have dedicated your time to that. I think is something, we're all very pleased that you can do that. Joseph, your hand is still up if you want to take that down.
Yeah,
I see.
no, I want
if
to
you
ask one more question. I want to ask the brother one more
okay,
question
come in.
in relation to Haiti. We know it's not the Haitian people. We know it's a puppet that they have in Haiti that voted caused to the abstention. And I see a similarity that happened with Grenada after the invasion of Grenada, where Grenada was controlled by the US. And when a vote came up in '95 against against the apartheid regime, our government at the time abstained like how Haiti had done. Can you, talk to, and of course, also the despicable behavior of Jamaica abstaining themselves from the vote. Can you see, like me, a pattern and maybe explain how we could really use that as a means to really show how we are all used from time to time? I hope I'm clear. Thanks.
Absolutely, you're fair, brother. And I went to university with a Grenadian brother who participated in the New Jewel movement. And he was explaining to us, this assassination of Prime Minister, your Prime Minister, Bishop, Maurice Bishop. And this is something they do everywhere. They remove the legitimate leadership and they put the puppet, and then they turn around and they say that you have poverty because you have bad leadership. It's not a very complicated scheme. Okay. Now the question is, how do we organize ourselves to stop it? And one of the things I think is this idea that elections is democracy. We need to get out of that mentality because they're creating fake elections. Okay, and those fake elections will never bring us the leaders that we need to invest and to prioritize the needs of our people. And so, Maurice Bishop being assassinated is not any different than the reason why they assassinated Thomas Sankara. These men were investing in healthcare, in education, just like Aristide. That's what they don't want. They want to keep those populations in need of foreign aid. And foreign aid is the way they control everything that goes on in your country. And on top of that, they control the IMF, the World Bank. So you do not have access to capital to do any kind of development. And so when Haiti finally had access to some resources, money to put in its budget to do development, was when Hugo Chavez started the Petro-Caribe scheme in the Caribbean. And what did they do? Okay, they imposed Michel Martelly on Haitians, who embezzled that money and wasted all of that money. Okay, so it's not rocket science. It's something they do. And you know who voted against Venezuela at the OAS? The puppets that they've established. Okay, Jovenel Moïse. Okay, now I know some people are pretending after the assassination of Jovenel Moïse that he was some kind of revolutionary. He was moving away from the Americans. That's why they killed him. No, man, there is no instantaneous revolutionaries. This kind of stuff only happened in the Bible, where you have a man who was named Saul, and he was on the road to Damascus, and he changed his mind. He became Paul. That doesn't happen in real life. Okay, so Jovenel Moïse was a puppet established by the Americans. He voted at the OAS twice against Nicolas Maduro, and they still killed him. And that's why I thank you for what you said about Mia Mottley. Which means that the warning we sent to her she really needs to heed that warning, because if she goes online, she will see those pictures of Nicolas Sarkozy smiling with Gaddafi just weeks before he killed Gaddafi. Okay, so when you betray your people to imperialism, it's not a guarantee that in the day of reckoning, that same imperialism is not going to destroy you.
Okay, thanks. On that note, we've got another question, a hand up. I see you there, Steve.
Just to say that Caribbean Labour Solidarity has these days a rather large email list. We have a website, we have a regular publication in Cutlass. If we can use that to link together struggles in the Caribbean with struggles in the rest of the world, then please use us for that purpose. It's one thing that we can do, and if we can make a small publicity by picketing an embassy or some robbing bank or any such thing, then ask us and we will do what we can. And I think that that's something that it's small, but you know, things start from small beginnings. And if we can, as you were saying, if we can link the struggle in Palestine, the struggle in Haiti, the struggles in Africa, the struggles in the Caribbean, so that and the struggles in Britain that we're seeing, you know, that we've all got the same enemy. And if we can spread that word, then I think, you know, we will all gain out of this. So please, you've all got the Caribbean Labour Solidarity email address. You must have if you're here. Then, you know, feel free to send us stuff. We will post it, we will circulate it, and we will try and spread the word and bring the unity of the struggle of people everywhere. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks. And I know he was joking about robbing banks, because I'm sure he won't get involved in such.
I understood him to mean banks of robbers.
Sorry, that's exactly the sort of thing that gets you into deep trouble when someone cuts that bit out of what you said. Yes, I meant robber banks, not robbing banks.
Okay, I think we'll now, Jeffrey, I hope you can stay with us some, because I thought we started on this note. I wanted to share some pictures of some of the activities. I've got my computer back. So
excellent.
I started to put together this little bit of slideshow before this meeting started. So Steve, can we get screen share? Have I done the correct thing? No, I've cut you off. I've disappeared myself. Did I?
Go to the bottom, the green thing, click screen share, and it should, you should get some options.
Yes. Okay, right. I think I got it there now. Oh, not this screen. Where am I? This one. Share. Is that being shared? Yeah, screen sharing. Have you got it there now?
We've got it. If you go somewhere up the top and do start slideshow, we'll see the
okay, right. Okay, to the top.
Slideshow at the top.
Stop video, slideshow. I'm not seeing. Hold on. Not more. Hold on. Let me get to more.
No, go to the top of the PowerPoint. Look for where it says slideshow. Click on that.
All right. Okay. I was looking on the other.
Yeah.
The other
click on that, and then you should get an option.
Yep. It's there.
One of the options will be from beginning, which is the first one on the left.
Great. I'll just bring this up. Right. Fighting for change.
Right, from beginning.
Okay.
Click from beginning on the left.
Yes.
Top row. Top row. Yep. Oh, you're nearly there.
Yeah, I've got it.
You need to,
Okay.
got it? Okay.
There you go.
Now, each time you
Okay,
click,
we
it
go.
should move on to the next one.
Great. I'll try and be quick with these, but because I just wanted people to get an idea of that, I think we were actually facing times when we've been discouraged from protesting and from fighting back, and we see the threats that are coming all the time from the government. If you only say jihad, we're gonna lock you up and so on, to try and terrorize people, saying that it is a demonstration of hate and all kinds of false things to try and discourage people from protesting. Protest is part of what we do. This is us in front of the Kenyan embassy here, and there's Selma James with the letter A. She was speaking at that moment. I spoke at that meeting as well. Here we go, another picture in front of the Kenyan embassy, warning them not to get involved. Keep your brutal police force at home. Haitian lives matter. And then another protest. This was supporting the unions when the owner changed, on a ferry, actually sacked the merchant seamen and employed people for a fraction of what they were being, and the union really came out in protest, and we joined that protest with them. And of course, this is a very recent one. I think you were there, Steve. This is your picture. Free Palestine. Was it nearly 500,000 turned out at one demonstration? Several demonstrations up and down the country. One I know, yesterday the police decided to withdraw any permission from people protesting in front of the embassy of which embassy were they going to? They were actually going to the Israeli embassy, and they were not given permission to do that. So they had to divert to different places. Solidarity. Here again, we are with the unions. And this was a demonstration where we were out here to support Child Q. Some of you might remember in the UK here that a young Black girl was strip searched in school. They didn't come out till a year after, or 2 years after, and people were really angry. Stop violating Black people, one of the posters said. Really calling out the police on this one. Sex offender police after prison. One of our different posters, some of you would not have seen this one. This one goes back. This was a reparations demonstration in Brixton. And we went all the way to Parliament and Downing Street on this occasion. One of the biggest demonstrations we had in the UK. Today's paper, I talked early on about the way in which they're trying to coerce us into not taking action, plan to brand anyone on the mind in the UK as an extremist. You can bet they've got their eye on any demonstrations about reparations for slavery. And we must remember that the last time Cameron, one of the prime ministers for the UK, went to Jamaica, and people challenged about reparations and apology. He had full of sorrows and promised to build them a jail. This was in 2015. Now we see the plan coming to fruition as Jamaicans are being deported to the jail in Jamaica, courtesy of the British government. This is a march on racism, anti-racism march, and we were out on this again. Banner. This demonstration, there we go. The strike, trying to defend the right to strike, CLS without supporting the trade unions again on that. We mentioned earlier the amount of children that were being killed in Gaza, 4,000. This is in today's newspaper, in today's Observer. This article tells a story. And here again, trying to stop people from getting the information. In some ways, I put self-censorship because this is what's happening. People, if they're afraid, they will not speak up and speak out. And thank you, Jafri, for speaking out so boldly today on Haiti and the region. And here we are again out in support of the nurses who were being clapped during the COVID, but being offered a 1% pay rise. Okay. This from the Morning Star. If protests didn't work, they wouldn't try to ban them. We mustn't give up on protests. Here we are again in front of the family court in Islington, where I live, supporting the Women of Color and Selma James organization. Mothers protesting against children being taken from them and at times being exposed to violence from their partners. Another demonstration, stand up to racism, solidarity with Latin America, a huge conference that happens every year. We usually invited to provide a speaker. And here we are outside with some information and leaflets. Labor Day parade. We usually try and get involved in this one to show solidarity with workers of the world. And yet again, on the parade. I think that's the end of it. So we stop there. I think unless there's some, how do I get out? Okay, stop sharing, stop video. Okay, am I out of this now? Not yet. All right, Steve, you might need to help me. I'm trying to get out of stop share. Okay, stop share. There we go. I'm back. Okay, am I here? Right. I'm just doing a show of, the things that we get involved in. We will always be out there protesting. We mustn't be coward or be intimidated by the state or anyone else, really, in the action we take. I see Bibi is here and from Stop Oil. They've certainly shown us the way to protest. And we know that many of your protesters, your people who are fighting to save this planet, the state has actually sentenced some to prison. Many have been prevented from taking part in further demonstrations and so on. As capitalism begins to be on its final knees, they're getting more desperate, and we see countries that generally try to pretend at least to have some fairness and some in the society are beginning to become more and more repressive, and no less so in the UK. So we have to keep. Oh, I'm speaking, but not on the screen there. I hope I'm seeing now. Okay, there you are. Yes, so we keep pressing on. Unless there's any other questions, we shall bring this meeting to an early close. We had planned on 2 speakers. We've got 1 speaker, and you've done really well. And maybe I should ask for a round of applause for you, Jafri, and holding this meeting together for such a long time. And thank you so much, and solidarity from us. Any way we can help, please contact us. We did plan at one stage that we might take joint action. Wherever you take an action, we can take the same action at the same time in the UK to show that solidarity across the island, across the pond. So maybe we'll come back to planning that, because we know Haiti will be on the agenda for some time yet. And I'm sure everybody will join me in celebrating and saying thank you very much for speaking to us today. If there's any closing remark you want to make, now's your chance. And if not, we shall be wrapping up the meeting.
Well, thank you very much, Brother Luke. Thank you, everyone from Caribbean Labor Solidarity. I'll have to ask you, please, those of you whose video is not visible, at least if I could see your face for a second, that would be my word of gratitude. It's so important to see the diversity, the real diversity of human solidarity. In our country, we have a fake prime minister who always talk about diversity, but reality is they don't care about us. And so when we see people who really care, it's important to, have an imprint. And so I can do a screenshot. So the next time we meet, we can embrace as brothers and sisters. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I was in London once and I went to your famous park and I saw speakers' corners and it inspired
Okay.
us. It inspired us to do the same thing here in Ottawa so that we can invite Canadians to know the truth about what's being done with their foreign aid money. And so, again, like I was watching your slide here, all of these are the same realities that we are facing here in Canada. And so, yes, at the next opportunity, brother, call on us, and whatever you're doing in the UK, we will do here in Canada. And likewise, let's do it because today we represent our family who were in the big house as our mothers, sisters were in the field. We have access to the ears of the oppressor. And it's our responsibility to tell truth, 100% truth, that would honor